You know that feeling when an entire season seems to orbit around a single question? Right now, everything in Formula One feels magnetically pulled toward this: who is actually going to leave 2025 as world champion? Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri. This grid is a pressure cooker, and every race pushes the lid closer to blowing off. Before we break down what each of the title contenders truly needs to win the championship, let me drop an important reminder. If you enjoy content that cuts through the noise and keeps you ahead of the Formula One narrative, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so the video reaches more Formula One fans. You make this community stronger. To understand where we are, we need to revisit the moment the entire championship flipped upside down, the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Verstappen won the race, but the real explosion came hours later when both McLaren drivers were disqualified for excessive plank wear. That single decision erased crucial points, dragged Verstappen back into the title picture, and turned what looked like a two-man fight into a pressure cooker with three contenders. Before the disqualifications, Norris had what felt like a shield around him, a healthy gap, momentum, and complete control of the championship narrative. After the DQ, that shield cracked. The paddock reacted instantly. Verstappen suddenly looked alive again, McLaren went silent, rival teams started recalculating their season goals, and every major outlet began writing new mathematical pathways to the title. And the drivers? Their reactions tell the whole story. Norris said the situation was frustrating, trying to hide the obvious annoyance of losing points in a race he considered under control. Piastri was more direct, calling the whole thing disappointing and saying the team needed a reset heading into Qatar. Even Verstappen, usually cold and efficient in his words, admitted the scenario was strange, almost amused by how fate had dragged him back into a fight that seemed lost 2 months earlier. And this is why the tension is suffocating now. The three arrive at the Qatar weekend with the same psychological weight but for very different reasons: Norris fighting to keep a dream intact, Piastri chasing the title he once led comfortably, and Verstappen trying to pull off the comeback that would define his legacy. The points matter, of course, but what matters more is how the energy shifted. You can feel it. The paddock knows the next 48 hours can rewrite the entire season. There is a world where all three drivers leave Qatar tied. Yes, it's real. Yes, it's crazy. No, we won't turn this into a math class. Here's all you need to know: if one McLaren dominates the weekend, the other collapses, and Verstappen wins the main race, the numbers align in a bizarre way that pushes all three into Abu Dhabi level on points. And if that happens, the title is decided by tiebreakers, wins, then second places, then third places. It's the kind of ending that would melt the internet. Norris is living his most intense season ever. Moment: Norris is the championship leader. He's fought all season, wins and poles, but Vegas hurt him. He still leads, but the cushion shrank to 24 points and the pressure is huge. He's the only driver who can clinch the title in Qatar. What Norris needs to clinch in Qatar, i.e., be champion before Abu Dhabi, he must leave Qatar with a margin of 26 points or more over both Piastri and Verstappen. In plain terms, across Sprint plus GP in Qatar he must outscore both rivals by at least 2 points, because the magic 26 is 2 more than the current 24 gap. Concrete position examples that would hand Norris the title in Qatar. Example 1, conservative but clear: Norris finishes second in the sprint, 7 points, and second in the Grand Prix, 18 points, equals plus 25. If both Piastri and Verstappen score 0 over the whole Qatar weekend, Norris would go from 390 to 415, leaving them on 366, a 49-point lead, obviously clinched. This example shows that if rivals score nothing while Norris scores a strong weekend, it's done. Example 2, the clean clincher arithmetic you can call out in voiceover: if Norris scores plus 2 points more than both Piastri and Verstappen across the sprint plus Grand Prix, for instance Norris 7 plus 18 is equal to 25 while both rivals combine for 23 or less, he reaches the 26-point safety and is champion. Example 3, high impact route: Norris wins the Grand Prix, 25, and picks up even 1 sprint point, 8th in sprint equals plus 1. That plus 26 total, 25 plus 1, while P and V score 0 makes him champion instantly. Worst case for Norris: how he can lose it if he scores 0 across Qatar and Abu Dhabi while either Piastri or Verstappen scores big, for example one of them nets the full 58 remaining points, Norris would be overtaken. More realistic immediate failure scenario: if Norris fails to score in Qatar, 0 sprint plus 0 race, and either Piastri or Verstappen scores high, for example they take win plus strong sprint, his 24-point gap could vanish or reverse, making Abu Dhabi fatal. Short summary lines you can use as callouts. Norris can clinch in Qatar only by outscoring both rivals by at least 2 points across the sprint in Grand Prix. If he leaves Qatar with a lead of 26 plus, he's champion. If he stumbles and scores little, the title goes to Abu Dhabi and the pressure becomes enormous. Like plus subscribe callout: if you want full permutations for every possible finish, hit like and subscribe. I'll drop a follow-up deep dive. Moment: Piastri is 366.24 behind Norris. He's been the teammate who at times looked like the benchmark, but form has dipped and mistakes cost points. After Vegas he's alive but cannot clinch in Qatar. He has to play catch-up across both weekends. What Piastri realistically needs to win the championship? He cannot clinch at Qatar because even a perfect Qatar weekend, sprint win 8 plus GP win 25 is equal to plus 33, brings him to 399, and Norris already has 390. Piastri would only be 9 points clear if Norris scores nothing. To be champion, Piastri needs a sequence across both weekends that results in him overtaking or matching Norris and then winning the tiebreak, wins/seconds. Practically that means Piastri must maximize points in Qatar, aim for the 33, and then score big again in Abu Dhabi while Norris scores poorly across one or both weekends. Concrete position scenarios that keep Piastri in title contention and give him a path. Max attack weekend in Qatar: Piastri wins the sprint, 8, and wins the Grand Prix, 25, equals plus 33. Piastri reaches 399. To convert that into overall lead by the end of Qatar, Norris would have to score less than or equal to 8 points across Qatar, because 390 plus 8 is equal to 398, still one behind Piastri's 399. So one realistic combination: Piastri first sprint plus first GP, 33, Norris finishes out of the points in both sessions, 0, Piastri leads after Qatar and goes to Abu Dhabi with margin. If Piastri cannot do the perfect 33, he must at least outscore Norris by big chunks in Qatar and then aim for maximum points in Abu Dhabi while hoping Norris stumbles. Worst case for Piastri: if he fails to score well in Qatar, low sprint plus low race, and Norris scores even modest points, his chance is effectively gone because there are only 25 points left in Abu Dhabi. For instance, if Piastri scores 0 in Qatar and Norris scores 8 or more, the gap widens to a point Piastri cannot recover without Norris making huge mistakes. Practical voiceover ready checklist for Piastri. Piastri needs perfect weekends: win sprint plus win race in Qatar, or equivalent big scores plus a weak Norris, then maximum performance at Abu Dhabi and mistakes from Norris. He can't clinch in Qatar. His path is aggressive: win, win, and pray for Norris errors. Like plus subscribe callout: if you want me to compute every exact finishing combination that hands Piastri the title, press like and subscribe and I'll make a visual table. Verstappen comes into the final stretch with more scars than expected. He's still the most naturally decisive driver on the grid, but this season exposed cracks in the Red Bull armor. Verstappen sat well back earlier in the season. His mid-final season run has been savage, and Las Vegas win plus McLaren's DQ shoved him straight back into contention. He's now 366, tied with Piastri and 24 behind Norris. He's the comeback threat, proven winner under pressure, and the driver most likely to capitalize on momentum. What Verstappen needs to become champion? Like Piastri, he cannot clinch in Qatar outright unless Norris collapses dramatically while Verstappen maxes out. Max can, however, equalize or overtake Norris across the last 2 races because 58 points remain. His plan must be twofold: maximize Qatar, get the 33 if possible, and then maximize Abu Dhabi, and crucially, finish ahead of Norris when it matters. Concrete position scenarios and exact finishing needs. Best immediate swing: Verstappen wins sprint, 8, and wins Grand Prix, 25, in Qatar equals plus 33. Verstappen moves from 366 to 399. For Verstappen to take the championship lead after Qatar, in that case, Norris would have to score less than or equal to 8 points across Qatar, because 390 plus 8 is equal to 398 less than 399. So if Verstappen delivers the perfect weekend and Norris has a 0/very low weekend, Max leads going to Abu Dhabi. Alternative realistic route: Verstappen wins the Grand Prix, 25, and finishes inside the sprint points, for example 3rd in sprint equals 6, equals plus 31. That still reduces the gap massively. If Norris scores negligible points, then the title fight goes to Abu Dhabi with Verstappen fully alive. For Verstappen to mathematically win the championship across the last two races, he must outscore Norris by at least 25 to 26 points across those events, because he's 24 behind now. Practically that means one near-perfect weekend and one strong finish while Norris falters. Worst case for Verstappen, he fails to score heavily in Qatar and Norris finishes even modestly. The remaining 25 points in Abu Dhabi may not be enough if Piastri also presses. In short, if Verstappen cannot collect large chunks of the 33 available at Qatar, his comeback becomes harder though not impossible. Key soundbites for narration. Verstappen needs a big Qatar, win the sprint and win the GP, or win the GP and score high in the sprint. If he does that and Norris falters, the title arrives at Abu Dhabi as a three-way war. Max thrives on pressure, and Vegas proved he still turns up when his back is to the wall. Like plus subscribe callout. If you want daily win probability math for Verstappen's comeback, hit like and subscribe. I'll model the permutations. This season is a psychological war disguised as a sporting competition. Verstappen fights to maintain dominance. Norris fights for validation. Leclerc fights Ferrari itself. Hamilton fights time, expectation, and the version of himself he is terrified to lose. And Piastri fights the belief that he should wait until next year. The beauty of this championship is simple: anyone can take it. The tragedy of this championship is also simple: anyone can lose it. The final rounds will reveal not who is the fastest, but who is the most complete. In Formula 1, the champion isn't the one who drives the best. The champion is the one who survives the season. To keep following this incredible story with depth and clarity, subscribe now and hit the like button. This community grows because of you, and the more we grow, the more stories we can tell about this chaotic universe called Formula 1. So here we are. 2 races. 3 contenders. 1 championship that refuses to behave. Norris has the upper hand but cannot relax. Piastri has the raw speed to turn everything upside down. Verstappen has the experience and the firepower to steal the title in the final lap of the season. And all it takes is one mistake, one safety car, one strategy miscalculation for the entire order to collapse. Tell me in the comments who you think survives this final sprint: the calm operator? The rising prodigy? Or the experienced assassin? And if this video hits 10,000 likes, we'll post daily updates all the way to Abu Dhabi. The next days will define careers and maybe even rewrite Formula 1 history.